So we're going to talk a little bit about the different types of emergency responders and the pipeline operator and how everyone sort of has a different job to do. So let's say maybe there's an odor call or some sort of call from the public to 911. What would that chain of events look like? Gordon, why don't we start with you on that side of things?
Really, that's a twofold opportunity, I'd like to say. One is the person calling in the potential incident, and one is the dispatcher. A lot of times the dispatcher, they can make or break an emergency. They set the stage by providing critical, need to know and have to know information to that first responder.
This is the Combined Communications Center for Brazos County Dispatch.
Oh, it's okay, ma'am. I just have to make sure everything's all
In addition to getting the location of the incident, knowing what type of product that they're going to be dealing with when they get there is really important, and that can be determined based on the indicators that they see. So relaying that information to the responders is really important. We can also give wind speed and direction information and keep them updated if there are any major changes with that. And also finding out the owner of the property or the oil site or pipeline is really important, so that we can get a hold of these people early on in the process and get them responding.
And who would typically respond first or arrive first? Would it be law enforcement or a fire department, or does it just depend?
It depends a lot on location. You know, metropolitan urbanized areas, your PD, because of population densities, they're going to be there first. In rural America, it's hit or miss. It's state to state as well.
What is the role of the firefighter in managing a pipeline incident or responding to a pipeline incident? Gordon.
We're the bridge between the owner and the community. We're there to protect the community, and through our actions, we help the pipeline company. We're their response tool for the most part out in the communities.
I think Gordon hit it. I mean, they're there to ensure the safety and prevent the spread of whatever it might be, whether it's a fire or whether it's a gas vapor. They're there to do what they can to prevent that from spreading and to protect the public and the surrounding.
Typically what's going to happen is we're going to get a 911 call about a strange odor and or liquid bubbling up out of the ground. Initially, one of our most difficult tasks is to identify the product, identify where it's coming from, and then assess the hazard. Most of our firefighters have been trained. We've got gas instrumentation, which can kind of give us an idea. And usually we'll secure the area and then start making some phone calls and try to identify where it's coming from. But most of the response is going to be initially from the fire department as well as the police department. The police department plays a huge role in this because they're already on the street. A lot of times they roll up on things that happen.
Law enforcement is really important to all types of emergency response. They're the primary conduit to the public. They're going to be able to get information out to the public. They're going to be able to help with evacuation, road closures, traffic control, all those critical things to keep that exclusion zone intact.
Our public safety concern when we have a pipeline incident is to make sure that we have a perimeter that we keep individuals away from or out of, so that we have, in effect, we're keeping our citizens safe. Well, police and fire in any municipality, I think, has a very close working relationship. The importance is to make sure that we do our role we do our job so they can do theirs and they can do it safely. So we lean on each other in that regard. And again, as I said before, when they have the expertise or the knowledge, they may sometimes advise us that we may want to move a little bit further back on the perimeter. When we think that we've got a wide enough perimeter, they may advise the chemical is more volatile than we initially thought it was, or it is actually a different chemical because of the information they have available to them.
Emergency medical services plays a lot of different roles. They're there to help with the safety of the responders. Should something go up, whether it's the pipeline operator or the fire department, they're also there to help with the public and a lot of times to reassure the public that it's okay. But they also provide that essential role of transporting the injured to the hospital.
So I think, the pipeline operator's role is to assess the situation, assess what it's going to take to reduce the flow or stop the flow of the product that's coming out of the pipeline. That's really, that's their most important role at that point. Once you get that stopped, then the first responders then can go in and they can take care of putting the fires out. EMS can go in at that point and perform the rescue. But as far as the pipeline operator, their role is to identify, communicate with the first responders, and isolate the product flow.
I think Dan's right on, that the response community is relying upon that operator for critical information, for other information that we didn't get from the dispatcher. That's the person that knows the stuff about the MSDS sheet or the SDS about that product. What do we need to be prepared for? What's our, minimum level of protection? Then using our resources. But that relationship has to be solid, and it has to be solid before we come on the scene. It has to be solidified when that pipeline, in my opinion, when it goes into the ground.
The emergency manager is really tasked with doing the preparedness before the incident even happens. So having that emergency manager to bring together all those parties, bring together that public and private partnership, the operators and the responders, to sit down at the table and think through what could happen and put out the best plan that they can is essential to protecting the public.